So sit comfortably, rest your hands in your lap and your feet on the floor, your eyes half closed, relax your shoulders, tuck your chin slightly so your head is balanced on your neck. Imagine there's that pebble on top of your head that begins to move down through your body like a pebble sinking in a river. You feel it move from the top of your head down into your forehead. And as it sinks, it kind of leaves some calm behind. So you feel your forehead relax, your eyes relax. You can let them be halfway closed or half open, all the way closed if you prefer that. That pebble keeps moving down, and we follow it with some attention to the places in our body it's moving. It moves down through our jaw and our mouth, and we notice how tense we may be there. You may be someone who grinds their teeth. And just be aware if there's tension there and let it dissipate. Just let it flow out, flow down with that pebble, down into your neck. Again, a place where we hold lots of tension. Tucking your chin slightly will stretch out the muscles on the back of your neck. And that also loosens up your shoulders so that your shoulders drop down, they hang loosely and roll back slightly, which opens up your chest. It allows you to breathe more fully. It also has the feeling of not, not bending over to protect our hearts, our feelings, our emotions, our vulnerabilities that are there in our chest. It moves down through your back, down into your lower back. Notice the tension there. So often we hold so much there, and it's because we try to carry too much, really literally, or just try to carry so much emotional on our own shoulders. And we start to get a sway back. We know it's good to let that gentle curve in our spine be there in our lower back, but it gets to a point where sometimes you're so swayed back that it throws everything from your waist on up and causes the tension and pain in your chest and your shoulders and your neck. The pebble continues down. You feel it in your belly till it comes to rest right in your belly and cradled in your pelvis. You feel the pebble settle into that spot just a few inches beneath your navel, that place where your diaphragm and your abdominal muscles power your breath. You feel that belly and abdomen rise as you breathe in and fall as you breathe out. Now just let your attention fall on your breath. No need to try and deepen it or lengthen it. Just let your breath come and go. And you may find, as you did with just being aware of tension, that you don't put energy into that tension. And in the same way, if you don't put tension or energy into your breath, you allow it to just flow naturally. And it tends to flow a little deeper and slower, getting that oxygen into your blood, into your brain, so that you begin to feel better, feel more peaceful and calm. You just continue with that awareness of your belly rising as you breathe in and fall as you breathe out. We got to talking a few minutes ago about stubbornness. sometimes it's a good thing to have. I think more often it's not a good thing to have if you're trying to do it alone, if you're refusing help, if you're like the old fella that won't give up driving even though he should, not accepting our limits. Again, it's that emotional version of your back being swayed from carrying everything on your shoulders. Sometimes that stubbornness comes from the sense that you need to do it all, that no one else can do it for you. Or I think the other side of it is that idea that forms in us when we're about 13, that if anyone tells us what to do, we're going to go right ahead and do the opposite. And as we learn to do here with our body, with our thoughts and our emotions, that feeling of stubbornness is something too we can just give our attention to. Not immediately trying to push it away to say it's a bad thing, because as we said, it sometimes is useful. But to just do the pause as you pause at other times before reacting. To just be with your breath and look at where that stubbornness shows up in your body. It may be literally in digging your heels in. You may feel yourself pushing down against the floor. Or maybe you clench your fists, set your jaw. But there is a kind of feeling of wanting to fight. And sometimes, again, it's good to fight against something. But as an automatic response, it doesn't always serve us. Instead, we can do the pause, take a few breaths, and just become aware of what that stubbornness feels like in our bodies. And if you have the chance, you can look a little at your thoughts and see what they are telling you. Are they saying nobody tells me what to do? Or says nobody else will do it right, so I have to do it? Or I'm not going to give up this thing that I've done my whole life, whether it's driving, carrying a heavy weight. Or if you're a woman, I would imagine it might be feeling you have to do the cleaning. You have to. I remember my mother of that generation where you do spring cleaning, and that was a week of just pure stubbornness, taking down all the curtains, emptying out the cupboards, beating the rugs, flipping the mattresses over. It's as though she was possessed. And sometimes it's as though our stubbornness possesses us and we feel that we don't have a choice. But we always do have a choice. And sometimes that secret is on turning around to look at it within ourselves rather than letting it tell us, well, it's these other people are the reason I have to be stubborn. Instead, looking at why I feel I need to be stubborn, looking at how it comes up in my body. And there are then a few questions I can ask myself. If there's something I'm trying to do, I can ask how important really is that I do this. Maybe it will be fine if I don't do the shoveling perfectly by myself and refuse to let anyone help me on a cold winter's day. Or maybe it doesn't really even need to be done at all, but we've convinced ourselves that it has to be done. and there's no one else that can do it but us? Or is it that 13-year-old thinking just that no one tells me what to do, which can be as dangerous to an adult as it is to a 13-year-old? We'll get in that cycle and do things that are the worst possible things for us just because no one tells me what to do. So we always have that option. And if we pause to look at it, we can ask what the thoughts are that go along with it, what the feelings are. Those feelings may be uncomfortable, those thoughts may be uncomfortable. But if we just turn to look at them, it's odd somehow that, again, taking that turn to look at ourselves, we might feel it's getting closer to the things like the anger, the stubbornness. But there's a way in which we've been ignoring them. That's what gives them their strength, what makes us feel we have to blindly comply with them. When we can turn to look at them, it's actually like a step back, and we can almost physically feel we're doing that. We're turning to look, but we're also stepping back to look at them. Or if you'd rather, you can think as though you're holding them in your hand and examining it closely. What is this? Where does it come from? And that allows you to ask the questions. Is this so important? Can it wait? Maybe doing this is not good for me. And you can almost feel as though you begin to relax and there's a softening. Those fists that are clenched begin to open. Your shoulders again hang loosely. Your feet aren't pushing into the floor as though you're trying to push yourself up and take off. You loosen your jaw. And sometimes the place you feel it the most is in your belly. There's that tight belly that comes with stubbornness. And you can let those muscles soften. You may be aware that when you're stubborn like that, that belly tenses up. You're like the bull snorting with short, fast breaths. And you'll likely find that that is what's happened to your breath too. So you can be aware of that, let it relax and slow, let your belly soften, and open your eyes fully to see clearly what needs to be done. Whether you can let it go, you can ask for help, you can just give in to someone else. So many choices. Or you may need to do what it is you feel you need to do. But you'll be doing it as a choice rather than being forced into it, and all the resentments and anger that go along with that. Those just drain energy, make us bitter and miserable. So when you feel yourself gearing up like that, and take that pause, take a few breaths, and look at yourself. Maybe you can even remove yourself from the situation, to just go off and be alone for a moment. Or if it's not anything that needs to be responded to, it can wait till tomorrow and you can just be with it and be with those questions. Finding a softer way to move through life, to move through the world with calmer, measured breaths as you breathe in and your belly rises, and breathe out as your belly falls. As someone who can be very stubborn themselves, I know this is not an easy task. Like everything else we do here, you can learn get better at doing it, at examining this. Just choosing to, first of all, be curious. How does this work? How do I get myself into these positions? Why am I so stubborn? And maybe let it go. Breathe calm, deep breaths. We'll take 3 deep breaths to close. And when you're ready, open your eyes.